Welcome to Florida Gators Live number 36. We are 55 days away until the Florida Gators kick off against the Long Island Sharks. We just keep inching closer and closer. What does that make us now? What, 48 days away? Yeah, 48 days away until week 0 game in Dublin. So we're getting closer and closer to that football season. George here goes Gators. Go Gators, George. And we have an interesting show here for y'all this week. It's 4th of July weekend. Tyler Natuno's out with some family. Been really rainy here. I didn't even know if we were going to be able to do the show thanks to all the lightning, rain, wind, and everything. But we're here. It's going to be a shorter episode today, but we got some fun stuff to talk about. Recruiting. Got a lot of commitments happening this week that could easily go the Gators' way. We're going to talk about some hypothetical stuff. If you could add a Gator from any previous team onto this roster, who would it be? And we're also going to talk about what player or players are the X factor for this team. And it could be the difference in the Gators maybe making the bowl game versus maybe making the playoff. So let's get into it here first. Let's talk about this. If you could pick one Gator legend or just one Gator in general from any team in years past to join this team, who would you pick? So I think you look at QB for us, and obviously you could say a Tim Tebow. You know, you've had Danny Warfel, Steve Spurrier, or Kyle Trask, and all great QBs, or Rex Grossman. You know, Shane Matthews. We had some really good QBs in our time. But I think you look at DJ Lagway, maybe the most talented QB that we've had here. Like we had AR recently as well, but like you're keeping Lagway on this team. It's like love Tebow, but if you're only taking one player here, you're keeping Lagway. You think you're really fine with the running backs with Ball, Jackson, Webb, Daniels, the freshman, and so on. So I think you're fine there. Receivers, this is an interesting spot to look at here. I think if you're looking at the wide receivers, J. Michael Sturdivant's a guy who has produced before. He has over 1,600 career yards. Last year wasn't as good for him, but a lot of different things happening at UCLA. QB play, offensive line, the offense in general. When you look at J. Michael Sturdivant as like a talent, he's there and he's proven before. You know, you have some young guys, Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown, Nashawn Montgomery, Adam Mizell still, Tank Hawkins. And then you have Trey Wilson, who, when he's played, he's been a really good player. So, I mean, you could go wide receiver. I mean, you can also look at a Percy Harvin. Van Jefferson was a second-round pick. Kadarius Toney was an elite playmaker for us recently. Ricky Pearsall was a great player. We've had some really good receivers in the past. But I think, and it's not going to be on the offensive line. We already have one of the best in the country. I think you easily go to the defensive side of the ball where you see more depth issues and some questions. I mean, Mark has it right here. The number one spot you're looking for is a defensive tackle. And, I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, you have Caleb Banks, who potential first-round draft pick. I mean, I think you have everything you want with Caleb Banks that you need. And, you know, you have on the edge or F position with Tyreek Sapp and Cam James. You know, you're good at edge. You're good on the defensive line. You do have some depth issues, nose tackle in particular. I mean, Jamari Lyons and Mekhi Barrow are two guys that can be good and solid. Although you don't know how high of a ceiling they have. And after Caleb Banks, you bring in Brandon Bett from Baylor. Who knows how good Bett will be? I mean, we'll see. Fall practice starts in less than a month. And, you know, there's a reason that Baylor really liked him. And they didn't want him to leave, but some stuff happened there, so we did end up leaving. But, you know, look at mostly that nose tackle spot. I mean, mark with it right here, Sharif Floyd. I mean, that is a great shout right there as maybe being the right answer. I mean, he was a great player for us, can play inside. I think you're also looking at maybe some other recent players. Jonathan Bullard, maybe not enough inside as you would want, but those are some good answers. But I think we'll also avoid the linebacker position because I think you have a lot of young talent. I mean, of course, you would take a Brandon Spikes or a Brandon Seiler even and, like, Ventrell Miller was a good back. David Reese was a really good linebacker for us. And Shamar James was pretty good for us. But, I mean, you have Pup Howard, proven production to be a really good player. And then you have all that young talent with Miles Graham and Aaron Childs and Janet Robinson's a proven solid player. You have Ty Jackson in that rotation now. So it's like, I think you stay with your linebackers, and if you can't develop them, then that's, so be it. That's on your staff. I think what we're looking at here is probably going to be the secondary. Now, you look at the corner room, you see Devin Moore, Dejon Johnson, two guys I really like. I think they can be really good corners. Both have like all SEC team potential. Devin Moore in particular, really great player when he's healthy. But when you look at Devin Moore, he just hasn't stayed healthy at all in his career. So I think corner could be the one spot that would make the most sense. And you're looking at Florida with a great history of corners. I mean, you don't even have to look back far. I mean, go back to Kyer Elam, first-round pick, was a great corner here. C.J. Henderson was a great corner. Tease Tabor, Quincy Wilson, Vernon Hargraves, Joe Hayden. I mean, and I just can keep going on and on and on about Florida Gators corners. It's like Lito Shepherd. I mean, we have some really good corners. I think now what happens in the NFL is a different story. The two guys I would probably look at for corner, Joe Hayden and Vernon Hargraves. I mean, I didn't get to watch much of Hargraves. I watched a lot more of Hayden. I watched a lot more of Vernon Hargraves, and I thought he was an elite matchup corner. Like, he was shutting down whatever wide receiver you put on him in any given day, basically, here in college. Now, again, we're ignoring what they did in the NFL. We're specifically focusing on what they did in college. So I think if I was going for corner, I'd probably go Vernon Hargraves. But, a lot of great potential options there. Joe Hayden, as I mentioned, I mean, really, you give us one of those guys, and this goes from a position group that we really like, or that we think has the potential, especially if they can stay healthy, to being maybe a position group we're talking about as one of the best on this team. Excuse me. Yeah, right here, Jackrabbit, Janoris Jenkins. I mean, and then the next position I was going to talk about that you could maybe equally say safety. Now, we returned Jordan Castell. It's a player we've talked a lot about, ups and downs, some really good, some mediocre stuff from him. But 2-year starter here in the SEC. It's like, if the staff is willing to go with him, he's had some injuries. So you're expecting him to be healthy. Currently, he's healthy. If he stays healthy through fall practice, expect him to be healthy going into the season. Maybe you get him when he's playing at his best. And then he has potential to be an NFL player. I mean, top a day 2 draft pick even. So I think Castell could be a really good player, but it's also like we've seen that floor with him. And Bryce Thornton, I think higher floor but lower ceiling type of player. Bryce Thornton played extremely well down the stretch. Obviously had those 2 interceptions that were crucial against Ole Miss and played pretty well outside of that as well. So it's like you have 2 players that you've seen some good things from, but you've seen some inconsistencies, especially from Castell. But you look at our safeties. I mean, Reggie Nelson, Lawrence Wright, Ahmad Black, Marcus May, Keanu Neal. Oh, man, that headhunter Keanu Neal was. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I mean, exactly like Mark saying it right here. Lots of great safeties in recent times. Like, you add any of those guys to the room, and this is a room that has a lot of snaps, but maybe not as much elite proven production as you would want. So it's like, I think you can make the argument for either corners or safeties. Marcel Harris right here. I mean, I think personally I would go corner because I worry more about the depth and the injuries at corner. Because, I mean, safeties, you had Alsaw Turner last year go down week 1 against Miami. And, you had Jaquez Bridges, and then you had Bryce Thornton end up stepping up. I mean, yeah, right here. Gardner might be the best because of his versatility. That's a really good shout right there. So it's like, I love that shout. I mean, I'm a big Marcus May fan again. I'm going to be more biased towards the players that I've seen play football for the Gators. So, I mean, Marcus May be the pick. So, yeah, I don't hate that at all. Or Chauncey Gardner, sorry. I don't hate that because, I mean, you look at the star position and it's like, we really like Aaron Gates, and we like Sharif Denson. Although Gates, he's gonna play this year, but is he gonna play week 1 against LIU? Is he gonna play week 2 against USF? Is he gonna be fully ready to play week 3 against LSU? So then you look at just probably Denton, Alfonso Allen, maybe a Flowers, a freshman, or Michael Caraway, the transfer. But if it's Gardner there as well, I mean, you're looking really good there because that flexibility. Which one thing Billy Napier on this staff really likes is positional flexibility. You look at the recruits they're getting. You look at 4-star defensive tackle Kendall Gervil we just got. He's someone that they can play at defensive tackle and nose tackle there. So it's a really good addition for him. With getting him because he has that flexibility. Draylen McCoy on the D-line as well. Can play edge. He can play the tackle. He can play jack, F, like guy that then has positional flexibility. So Gardner is a really good shout there. You look at the recent commit we got in 4-star corner, CJ Hester. It's a guy who plays a lot of safety as well. So it's like a guy that could probably also play at nickel star, I should say. So it's like, but it's mainly a corner from what I've been told. That we're be recruiting him at. So it's like this staff loves that flexibility. So Chauncey Gardner-Johnson might be the best pick there. And, Chauncey's maybe had the best NFL career of most of those players we talked about. I mean, I think Reggie Nelson would be hard to pass up on, though, who's a really good player for us. So, and Ahmad Black, I mean, again, all of these guys, Lawrence Wright, I mean, they'd be great on this. But I think I would go corner and I would go Vernon Hargraves because he was just that elite shutdown corner. I mean, he was getting those picks. He was getting deflections. Obviously, as I said, we're not really looking at what they did in the NFL, but what they did in college and what he did in college was maybe one of the best corners I've ever seen. All right, we'll end that there. But yeah, leave who you guys think in the comments would be a pick. I mean, I skipped on it earlier, but George, I would take Kyle Trask as the backup quarterback. I mean, that would be funny as you. I mean, I assume this is supposed to be kind of sarcastic right there with that emoji there, but yeah, I mean, if it was Trask, that would be a kind of funny thing. And hey, I mean, if you had a Percy Harvin to this team, there have been people who said Percy Harvin is the greatest Gator of all time. His electricity is just unmatched. Like, I really like Trey Wilson in that gadget type of player role. But, I mean, Percy Harvin is obviously another tier above. So, we would obviously not skip on a Percy Harvin type of player. And somehow, I didn't even mention Kyle Pitts. I mean, look at our tight end room. I like Canton. He's solid. You hope you get some more from Amir Jackson, the former top 100 recruit. He was a true freshman last year, so it's like you can't be upset I didn't do too much on the field last year, but you hope to see some from him. And Tony Livingston, we saw a little bit more of him at the end of the year. Got a touchdown, I think, against FSU and against Tulane in the bowl game when we stopped playing Arliss Boardingham, and he's now at Bowling Green, I believe. So it's like, obviously, Pitts would make a huge difference. And I mean, imagine if Lagley just had a 6'6", 245 target out there that had the speed, size, and everything that you want in a player. I mean, oh my goodness, the deep balls, the Pitts, they would be insane. I feel pretty good about our team, except I'm not sure about the backup quarterback. I don't think we should worry too much about the backup quarterback. I mean, yes and no. It's like, it's one of those things where you always have to have that backup option. But, and it's like ours is Harrison Bailey or Aiden Warner. I mean, Clay Millen, if he actually is a real player. I mean, Clay Millen just might not even exist. So I think that's something that we have to keep in mind right there. Kenny Hawthorne here. Percy is the most talented player to ever play. I mean, yeah. I mean, the most electrifying player. I mean, I obviously didn't get to see too much of him being too young and everything. So it's like, to me, maybe the most electrifying or most talented player I've ever seen was that Kyle Pitts. I mean, in 2020, especially, like, Kyle Pitts was this next level. So it's like, we're going to have our personal bias, but sticking with the defense, for my opinion there. And I really like if we could have had a corner, and especially at the level of a Vernon Hargraves. But let me tell you guys about the Voice of College Football website. You can find it at vocfb.com. And a new thing we're doing here at the Voice of College Football is we're doing live commitment watch parties. And you see two of them right here. KJ Ford, 4-star edge rusher, that the Gators are currently projected to land, commits Friday. I might be on that watch party. It just depends on work and timing and everything like that. If I'm available to, I plan to be in Caden Prothrow, 5-star tight end. We're also doing him for Saturday. I should also be on that watch party right there. Don't know if the Gators are going to land him. Probably not, but it's going to be fun to go and look at that. But one perk of this website, you can go and find all of these videos for our recruiting channel on this website. I'll put it here in the chat. I'll put it in the chat, vocfb.com. Check it out. New stuff, new articles coming out. You can find the live streams, or you can find some notes on from every live stream that we do. If you just want to listen up about what West Virginia and Rich Rodriguez is building, they have some quick notes there, so you don't have to watch the full hour plus long live stream from that channel. You can just 2-minute read from what they discuss on that for them. So it's probably it's a really good thing to do. Got an interesting message right here. Oh. Pitts was probably the main tight end, but Hernandez was better. I mean, Aaron Hernandez obviously had some of the personality stuff that affected his draft stock, which makes it really interesting that Bill Belichick was the one to draft him, but I feel like Pitts' receiving ability, I mean, I hadn't seen a tight end really do what Pitts had done in my lifetime again. So it's like maybe Hernandez is better, but I feel like Kyle Pitts is just so electric. Master of Dreams, we need a 5-star. Trenton was the only 5-star we was coming close to. I think, yeah, we'll see. There's still there's still 5 months until signing day even occurs in December. Trenton Henderson was a 4-star. Or let me get it right here. Pull his exact rank up. He was ranked 82nd in the composite. I think that will go up though over time, especially with the on3/rivals combination now. And they're supposed to do something Monday, so we'll see how that affects their rankings. But I mean, I really liked Henderson, and it sucks we missed on him, but we're gonna get some players. We're gonna talk about it here shortly. Actually, could just start talking about it now. So the Gators have 4 targets, or I guess there's more than 4 targets, but 4 players that commit this week that the Gators are looking really good for. And I think we should do a little preview for them and tell you guys how excited I am for them coming up here. Just read a comment about us, the Gators. You need to get 5 stars. We've got some pretty good players, though. Not 5 stars, but the rankings will also fluctuate for the next 5 months before they're even finalized in. Still a lot of time to go, but committing Monday. So committing tomorrow as we're recording this, supposed to be at 2 o'clock. We'll see if that time is real, but a lot will change. 4-star linebacker Malik Morin out of Lakeland, Florida, currently ranked 202nd in the class. So a thing that's going to affect Malik Morris's ranking, he had a pretty serious injury. He's put some weight on. I expect him to be a Gator tomorrow, but recruiting nowadays, you never know what's going to happen there, but his ranking's probably not going to be able to go up because of that injury, and we'll see what happens this season. I mean, a lot of things can happen. A lot of info I could get could be wrong. But, I mean, I expect him to be a Gator tomorrow, but I do think there are some things that could happen that might affect that. I mean, there's another linebacker we'll talk about later that's also committing that I like a bit more than him. So there's that. Next, 4-star edge rusher. This is a pretty big one right here. KJ Ford out of Duncanville, Texas, Duncanville High School. Duncanville, Texas is a city, okay. But Duncanville High School, obviously, major powerhouse. Ranked 116 in the 247 composite, but I think that's the player I expect to finish better than top 100. It's hard to project how high these guys could finish, but he's had a really good offseason. On3/Rivals 5-star challenge that was recently occurred. He had one of the best clips of the day when he bullied 5-star offensive tackle Felix Ojo, recently committed to Texas Tech. So it's like Ford's a guy I expect to rise, and he's someone I know is at the top of the staff's board. one of their favorite edge, maybe the favorite edge rusher for their staff in the country. He's supposed to commit Friday. I talked about him just a little bit ago. We're planning to do a watch party. I hope to be there for it. So apparently his commitment is supposed to be at 8:30 EST. I haven't officially heard that time, but that's what been some rumor there. But KJ Ford is one that it's not over yet. Final three: Florida, A&M, and Ohio State. I don't expect it to be A&M because they've taken 3 edge rushers this class. They just got a high 4-star guy, maybe 5-star, I can't remember, but I don't think it'll be A&M. It's mainly a Florida-Ohio State battle, and Ohio State's missed on some edge prospects. I've heard they recently upped their offer for KJ Ford. It could still go that way, but I know Florida's still really confident and really likes him for the past, over a month. And it's one that I've been told we were expecting. Obviously, things could change in the next 5-6 days. But we'll see what happens. Of course, anything can happen. But I really like our odds with him. I think this is a really good player. That 116 in the rankings is not bad at all. It's a player you should celebrate. But I think by the time this guy commits, even he could be ranked inside the top 100 and have room to grow for his over the next senior season. Next two, we're going to talk about both commit on Saturday. First, we'll talk about 4-star. How do I say this? Tight end Hezzy Kent out of Brunswick, Georgia, ranked 149 in the 247 composite, 6'6", 310. I read that right. A guy that wants to play tight end. Russ Callaway's one recruiting him. Is listed at 6'6", 310 pounds. I've heard he's closer to 295, but that weight can fluctuate so much in between the season and off season and everything in between. So ranked 149, so a pretty highly rated recruit there. Main battle, Miami and FSU. FSU and Texas. I've heard Miami, they got another tight end commit, so I don't really expect them to be too much of a factor in this. I think the biggest buzz is to FSU if it's not Florida. But this is one that we've been high on. He's a really good connection with Russ Callaway. We've been fully recruiting him at tight end over the cycle, which he's not letting you recruit him if it's not as a tight end, especially if you're trying to recruit him at offensive tackle. So it's someone I think we have a really good chance and probably should land on Saturday. And when he gets on campus, we will see where he ends up playing, whether it is that tight end spot or offensive line or even on the defensive line here. But listed as a tight end, expected to be the second tight end in this class. 149, ninth rated athlete in the country. Really good player, really good addition there. It's going to really help boost that class ranking up. Supposed to commit Saturday. Don't have an official time for it, but this is one I really like and the Gators should keep an eye on. So maybe my second favorite player of the 4 I've talked about, and actually the currently lowest ranked player is 4-star linebacker out of IMG, DQ or Dion Forkba Jr. out of IMG. He's originally from Georgia, but now plays at IMG Academy. He's also supposed to commit Saturday. Biggest battle is probably with Florida State, but we have received multiple predictions over the last couple days for the Gators to land Forkba. And this is one I think could really rise up the board. He's ranked 240th on the composite, so nothing to laugh at, not shabby at all. But his ESPN ranking is 40th. So they have him as a top 40 player in the country. And then look at the other 3 sites, 247 and On3 have him as a 3-star. Rivals an unranked 4-star. But I think something worth of note for Forkba here is On3 and Rivals are combining their rankings. The rumored time for that is tomorrow. That's when they are thinking they might have it up. And from what I've heard, Forkba had a really great offseason. Runs a 4.440. Obviously, probably is going to put a bit more weight on, so he probably won't be running in that 4.4440, I should say, here at UF. But really fast, really good athlete. Currently listed at 6'2", 225. And he was one of the honorable mentions at the On3/Rivals 5-star challenge. So he's a guy that you go from being ranked highly on one of 4 sites to maybe within the next week, by the time he commits even, could be ranked highly on 2 of 3 with that On3 and Rivals combining. He's a guy that could be, we're looking at 240 right now. He could be someone near that top 100. I don't know how big of a boost or if they will give him a boost. I'm talking about On3 again. It's really confusing, I know. But you're talking about someone who could get a big boost and jump up those rankings. But something that could hesitate the rankings rise is the fact that he was injured in his last season and played more off the edge. So him now being a true linebacker, you need to see it on the field a bit. Like, he has the athletic tools to be a really good player, but you need to see him actually do it on the field. And hey, playing at IMG Academy, you know they're going to play a lot of big games, a lot of nationally relevant games. So if you're going to do it, playing at IMG Academy is the school to really rise up your ranking. Some other players that we're waiting on that could commit this week, but you don't know. 4-star wide receiver Samarian Wingo, someone that I think the Gators should probably land. I've been high on this guy for a long time. He's really shot up the rankings. I think he's currently ranked 156. Let me get the exact number here. 247, 156 on the composite. Is someone that could also really benefit from that on 3 Rivals combination, because Rivals is the lowest on him, on 3 is pretty high on him. So if that ranking favors more towards on 3, could be someone that's vying for a top 100 spot. Another name to look out for, 4-star tight end Tennessee commit Carson Sneed. Pull up his ranking here. He is currently ranked 265 in the composite, a 4-star guy out of Nashville. Florida's really been on his trail for some good things there. Although I don't know if we will flip him, or if we do flip him, how soon it will come. But it's one to keep an eye on. It would be our 3rd tight end in this class, assuming we land Hezi Kent next Saturday. So it's an interesting one there to keep an eye on. Another top near 5-star guy, 4-star wide receiver or athlete, Davion Gross out of Texas. Someone I've heard some really good things about, although he might be trending towards Oklahoma. But someone who could commit at any moment. If he committed now, it might be to Oklahoma. But I know Florida is really high on, and he's really high in Florida. So if you're looking at a guy that's near that 5-star status, this might be the player that could jump to a 5-star and could be a Florida Gator. Yeah, we need to spend more money. I've donated $5,000 to the NIL fund, but we need more donations. Yeah, I mean, I think part of the problem is the fact that they need to see Billy have an elite season. They need to see Billy make the playoffs before they end up donating all of that money. Because to land these 5-star guys, I mean, Jackson Cantwell going to Miami is expected to be making over $2 million. Felix Ojo, who just committed to Texas Tech, is currently projected to be making over $5 million at Texas Tech. Which is, I mean, it's a lot of money, obviously. And, I mean, the Gators have landed plenty of 5-stars. I mean, DJ Lagway, LJ McCray, Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown. I mean, Kamari Wilson was a 5-star guy when he committed to us originally when Millie Napier was here. So it's like, we've landed 5-star guys. And, you know, rankings will fluctuate. We'll see what happens here and there over the next 5 months. I mean, as I repeat it again, but we'll see how these rankings really do turn out. And I think the Gators, they have a solid floor for this class. The season will probably end up determining how the ceiling is. And if we can get those big donations, help us maybe flip a guy like a Trenton Henderson that we talked about earlier. Another one that could flip easily is 5-star or top 50 linebacker Isaiah Williams, who's right out of Tavares Leesburg, you know, an hour and a half away from Gainesville. Someone that has committed to 5 different schools. You know, he's stuck with Ole Miss now for a couple of months, so, you know, maybe he's finally starting to settle down, but it's someone I think the Gators could definitely flip back into our program and maybe be our highest or one of our highest guys in this class. But I'll be right back after a moment from our sponsor.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
Welcome back to Florida Gators Live. As I said, busy weekend here for us. 4th of July stuff and some pretty bad weather happening, so it's a shorter show. So I'm not going to be on here too much longer, but I think we're going to talk about next year. Who is the X factor for this Florida team going into the 2025 season? Now, the obvious answer is Dallas Wilson. I mean, sorry, not why did I say Dallas Wilson? Sorry, it is DJ Lagway. I mean, if Lagway's throwing for 5,000 yards or 4,000 yards, I mean, and 40 touchdowns, the Gators are going to have a really good football team and win a lot of games. But outside of Dallas Wilson, I mean, why did I say that? I'm sorry. Outside of DJ Lagway, who is the player that could be the X factor? I mean, it might just be Dallas Wilson, the 5-star receiver that went for 10 catches, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the spring game. A lot of hype for him. If Dallas Wilson can become a wide receiver 1 in his freshman season, which we saw it last year for like Jeremiah Smith or Ryan Williams, or even a Cam Coleman at Auburn and a Nick Marsh at Michigan State. So it's like saw a lot of really good freshman wide receiver last year. And could Dallas Wilson be like that? Maybe. Could it be a J. Michael Sturdivant? I think that's an interesting name right there. Receiver transfer from UCLA. Was at Cal also year prior as a guy that has that NFL potential with that big 6'3" size and pretty fast player there. Could he be the player that ends up being the difference for this Gator team? If we need that receiver that Lagway can count on, he's going to throw it deep on, or if it's going to be a third down that he knows can get open, or a player that he knows can get open deep, and he's just going to have to trust his receiver to get open. Is it J. Michael Sturdivant? Is it Jaden Ball? We saw a lot of good things from Ball. Went over 600 yards and 7 touchdowns last year, mostly in a backup role and splitting carries. I mean, that's the thing with our running back room. It's not really going to be one true running back. It's going to be a 2-headed monster at the very minimum. And could it be Ball and Jackson if they're both really good with this great offensive line we're projected to have? I mean, what if Ball and Jacoby Jackson both go for near 1,000 yards or both go over 1,000 yards? I mean, we're talking about one of the best run games in the country, and we know Lagway has the mobility if his hamstring is healthy. So what if you have 2 elite running backs and you have DJ Lagway is also able to be a very mobile QB? I mean, he had over 1,000 rushing yards his senior year of high school. I mean, we know Lagway has that mobility. Could it be Amir Jackson, who we talked about earlier, the redshirt freshman tight end who was a top 100 player? I mean, you'll look at LSU last year. They had Mason Taylor, who was, it's a third down. Who does Garrett Nussmeier trust to get open 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 yards down the field? It was Mason Taylor, and Mason Taylor was a really good tight end. Could Amir Jackson be like that for the Gators? And could Amir Jackson stretch the field for us? I think that's something that could really change it. But I think the X factor on offense, I think we have the talent. The bigger problem or question is the coaching. Is Billy Napier going to be able to call the plays, or is Russ Callaway calling plays? And are they able to scheme open our players? Are they able to keep Lagway healthy in the pocket and open run lanes? I mean, we know Billy can scheme open the run lanes. He's had a really good run scheme here in his time at Florida, so it's like I don't think that's really the issue. But can he get the pass game working? I think we saw a good bit last year with Lagway at the end of the season, and I think we have a higher floor with Lagway than most people realize. Because I think they see 12 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and they say, oh, very inconsistent QB who turned over the ball a lot and didn't score many touchdowns. But I think something you have to remember is Lagway had like 6 or 7 touchdowns or plays where his receivers, like on deep passes, were tackled inside the 5. I mean, if you remember that Kentucky game where Jaden Ball went for 5 rushing touchdowns, I think there was probably like 3 plays there where our receivers were tackled inside like that 5 in the 1 even yard line, happened against LSU as well. So yeah, like, I mean, that's a couple more touchdowns there. That's instead of 12, you could be talking about Lagway having 16 touchdowns, which could be a pretty big difference. And you also look at Lagway having 9 interceptions. He had 7 turnover-worthy plays last year. So he had more interceptions than he had turnover-worthy plays. So like there were some picks, and I'm pretty sure one of those turnover-worthy plays was a Hail Mary. So it's like so sometimes even those numbers and data points could be skewed. So I think you have a pretty high floor with Lagway with his deep ball that's going to work at times. It's going to work at least once or twice a game, and you can have your criticism about Lagway, but I think even his floor is still really good. And like unless he's insanely injured, then you can have a different conversation. But I mean, I think. But I think the X factor really with the offense is Billy Napier and the play calling. Although I'm not as much as of a hater on the play calling as a lot of people are. I mean, one person missing a block and you now being on a third and medium isn't a play calling thing. You know, you have a player miss a block. That's a player thing. I mean, you're not going to win every play, or a receiver dropping a ball, or Jermaine DK tipping the ball up for an interception. Well, that's another one of Lagway's interceptions where he threw it to DK, hits him in the hands, goes up, and Ole Miss linebacker TJ Saunders ends up making a diving pick. And, you know, so it's like, I think the offensive play calling, it's not perfect, obviously. I think it's a bit overhated, but it could also just not be. I could just be wrong. And that's why I think it is the X factor on the offense. But now you look at the defense. I think there's one player here that's like the pretty easy answer for me. But I'll start with like a Jordan Castell at safety. If you get Castell playing his best, like we've seen it multiple times this season, where he probably plays like in a 3 or 4 game stretch, like an elite safety. If you can get that for most of the season instead of the little part of the season, then you're having a really good safety that could shore up that backfield. And it's like, if Devin Moore could stay healthy, that's also a major X factor for this team. Or, you know, maybe Cormani McLean becomes that 5-star corner he was out of high school and ends up playing like it. Elite frame, he's put some weight on. People are really talking about him, but I'm a bit more hesitant than most are on Cormani McLean. I'm a bigger fan of Dijon, and I don't think that's a big issue because I really like Dijon Johnson there. The linebackers, maybe it's even Miles Graham, highly rated guy. I think an elite linebacker could shore up an entire defense because you're getting something from his leadership and you're getting something for his play that maybe your defensive line messes up, but you have that linebacker shooting through the B gap and can still make that play. But I think the biggest X factor is Caleb Banks. I've talked a lot about Caleb Banks. Actually, can I pull up? Do I still have this? I don't think I still have these rankings. But I know we recently, or a month ago, it's been so long now it feels, but a month or so ago, we had our top 10 player rankings for the 2025 season. I think I had Caleb Banks at number 1. So I'm obviously really high on Banks. I'm pretty sure Natuno also had Banks at like 3 or 4. So we're both already really high on Banks. A lot of that hype, though, for that elite level play for Banks is coming off that elite stretch that he played. Really starting at the LSU game and the bid against Ole Miss before he got injured. And did he get injured at Ole Miss or FSU game? I can't remember, but there's people talking about Caleb Banks as a potential top 10 draft pick in the 2026 NFL draft. If you're getting a top 10 pick, Caleb Banks, then I think this defensive line is going to be elite because we already know Tyreek Sapp is a really good player. Could Tyreek Sapp also take another step and maybe also become an elite player? Yes, but I think you have a higher floor with Sapp and maybe a lower ceiling. I mean, Sapp is also a projected first-round pick in a lot of mock drafts, so it's like he also has a pretty high ceiling. But I think Banks has like top 5 pick ceiling, although I think Sapp probably can maybe counts out at like top 15. So I think there's a difference there that could really change up this defense. And Caleb Banks could definitely stop the run game a good bit. You have some issues with the depth at defensive line, and you go look back at the 2022 season, Gervon Dexter, where Gervon Dexter had to play so many snaps because you had a lack of depth. I think Caleb Banks could be better than Dexter, and I think the depth is a little bit better to where he's not going to have to play as many, but you can get in those fewer snaps, but you can get a higher level of play that can really change a game around. I mean, that game against LSU was just one of the best defensive line performances you'll ever see out of a defensive line. And it was against an offensive line that had allowed, 7 sacks all season, and they end up giving 7 up in that one game. So I think Caleb Banks is the X factor because it's going to open up room for a Jamari Lyons or Mekhi Barrow to also play well, and Sapp and Gums and LJ McCray off the line. LJ McCray is another name that I haven't mentioned that is also an X factor. Former 5-star, 3 of the 4 recruiting services had him as a top 10 player. So it's like LJ McCray has that high level talent. You know, as a freshman last year, you saw him play a pretty decent bit. Maybe he didn't have the flashes that you would have hoped, but you're hoping he takes that year 2 jump and is going to get more playing time. And playing behind George Gums, a guy who I think Gums could sneakily lead the team in sacks. Doesn't necessarily mean he's the best player, but he could rack up those sacks because they're focusing so much on a Sapp and Banks that it just leaves Gums 1-on-1 or 1-on-none. And he's able to rack up a bunch of different little sacks. Got Matthew Miller here. We need from the Texas channel, we need a collab soon. Hey, Matt, I'm down. Just you could shoot me a message. Here, do I have my? Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Twitter at twit4gator. I mean, you can see the name and probably guess where I got that from. But yeah, I'd be down to join up on your channel or have you on my channel, especially before the Texas game. I know both of us have bye weeks, so I'm down to, especially then and now as well, I'd be down to, record some videos. It's a game that is going to be one of the most hyped games in the swamp. I mean, probably since the 2021 Alabama game. I mean, 2022, we had Utah come in and, we had a top 10 or 11 Tennessee team come in, but Texas could easily be the number 1 ranked team in the country coming into the swamp. And Lagway versus Arch Manning, maybe the 2 biggest quarterback names in all of college football. Some of that's going to get the viewership. I mean, if Florida is able to win at least one of those Miami or LSU games, we will also be a top 10, top 15 team at the minimum there. So, I mean, it's going to be a hyped up game, and I'd love to join the channel. I'd love to have you on our channel. Just shoot me a DM. You can catch Florida Voice of College Football Florida live on your favorite audio platform. Pretty sure it's Florida Voice of College Football, actually. Don't know why I had that typed backwards, but you can find us on your favorite audio platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. If you don't want to listen to us on YouTube, maybe you're going to sleep, maybe you're driving the car and don't want the video playing, you can find us there. Real easy, simple. Leave a review if you like what we have there. It gets uploaded pretty quickly after we do these streams and have the shorter videos uploaded. So check us out there. We're going to have a bunch of commitments coming up in the next week. And check us out there. Something else, a little bit of news. Will Richard has his first Summer League basket and actually the first point of the entire game against the San Antonio Spurs in the Summer League. So shout out Will Richard. I also know Walter Clayton had a pretty good game, 5 or 6 assists and 9 points in his debut. Played some really clutch basketball, efficient in basketball in his Summer League debut. So excited to see these Gator boys staying high in the NBA. I mean, it's just a Summer League. So we'll see if they even make the roster. I mean, Walt will make the roster, but we'll see if Will Richard makes the roster. And his sharpshooting ability at Golden State could be really fun to watch. Oh, I forgot to take this banner down. We also have the new college football EACFP 26 dropping tomorrow. I'm not sure if it drops at midnight or if it drops at 4, because I saw it might drop at 4, which is kind of annoying. Because why wouldn't it not just drop on the day? And I work at 4 o'clock, of course. I'd love to stay up a little bit, play a bit in the morning, but because I got to start work at 4 tomorrow. So that's a little annoying right there that it can't just drop at the time. But Gators gained some pretty high recognition in the game. The offense ranked as a top 10 offense in the country. Yeah, elitist offense, which makes a good amount of sense with Lagway, Boss rated pretty highly. Trey Wilson actually rated really highly in the game as well. A couple offensive linemen at Barber 89 and Slaughter at 92. Lagway is a 90. J. Michael Sturdivant rated pretty high, like an 85 or 86. Our two freshman receivers also rated in the 80s. So Gators are going to be a fun team to use in that game. I don't know if you guys plan on playing it, but I definitely have it pre-ordered in the deluxe edition. So, what is this? Oh, okay. Sorry, mine. But it's been weird because most of our streams go nearly 2 hours long here, but got some busy weekends, some rainy days here. No Natuno, and we're just, I said, 55 days away until the Gators kick it off. So I got a full stat line here. Will Richard in the first half of his Warriors debut at the California Classic. 13 minutes, 9 points, 2 of 5 from the field, 4 of 4 on free throws, plus 16. Oh man, Sir Will Richard is looking really good. I'm really excited to see him doing well there and hoping to get on that roster. So, and it actually now has 10 minutes, 9 points, 1 rebound, 1 steal, and plus 18. So he's continuing to do well there. But that being said, we're going to cut it shorter today. We'll be live next Sunday. Should be a longer stream. Previewing SEC Media Days. We're starting to get exciting. We should have a bunch of commits. We're expecting nearly 4 commits in the week, maybe more if we're lucky. And hopefully tune into that. We'll actually be reviewing or previewing the Texas game with Tyler Natuno next week. Maybe we'll ask Matt to jump on the show if he can. So it'll be a fun time. We'll see you guys next Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern. If you like the channel, make sure you subscribe, like the video, comment, and we'll see you next time. And as always, go Gators.